There we go.
Hello and welcome to the Mind to Lead podcast. We are on episode number 4 of the isolation series. So we are now live, I think, on Facebook. So we are kicking off this new episode today. So Anna, amazing to have you here. How are you today?
I'm well. I won't say amazing. We'll go into that. But I'm doing as well as possible and grateful as ever to have the space to have this beautiful conversation with you, because we've been getting lots of incredible feedback and just excited to serve from this podcast and this space and have the juicy conversation I'm sure that will transpire today.
Amazing. And yeah, I just want to just touch on that as well. For everybody who's been reaching out to say that they found this podcast really helpful, I just want to say thank you so much. Like, we love hearing the feedback, so keep it coming. And we've got 2 more episodes after this, so any questions or anything that you're going through that you want us to talk about, please reach out. We really want to hear from you. So yeah, look, I guess it's been a really sort of interesting week for us both, and today I really want to talk about what is actually going on in life on top of everything else, because life is still continuing to happen, right? Like, nothing else is stopping or slowing down because of this pandemic. In fact, I feel like everything is heightened even more so. So you've had quite an interesting week. Your little fur baby has been pretty poorly, so that has added to everything else on top. So do you want to, I guess, start by sort of talking a little bit about that, that's current for you right now, and how you're dealing and working through that?
Yeah, so that's why I said I'm not amazing. I mean, look, it's all a choice. I can still choose to be amazing. But yeah, so we usually actually come live on a Monday at 2 p.m. on my Facebook. And then obviously you're listening back to this, if you're listening back to this on Thursday morning, but we do go live on our Facebooks on Monday usually to record this. And yesterday I could not, because I have a very sick, poorly fur child who's with his dad downstairs, and we just don't know what's wrong. So he's been in the vets since Friday morning, so 4 days now. Well, today's like day 5 almost, or day 5 of him having every test imaginable and still completely unaware of what's going on, but the symptoms are persisting, which is just a lot of vomiting and not being well. But and this is my theory in life, it's stressful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sleeping very well, because obviously when we can have him home and we have him home, he's in the bed with us. So we're up all night with him, checking on him if he's, chucking and things like that. But my big theory in life is always, and I say this to my team all the time that I lead, is that life is going to keep happening to us no matter what. Even in a pandemic, it's just not going to stop. So it really is. I know we were having the conversation off camera, and we put the heading as it, but I said, are we going to go through this, or are we going to grow through this? And is this going to make us, or is it going to break us? And just for me right now, still, I'm like, this isn't going to break me. And there's lots of reasons why. We're going to go through this, but you are as well. So we jumped on earlier, and you are going through some family stuff as well. So how is Grandad?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm meant to be in the UK right now with all my family and supporting them through pretty tough times. So my granddad is, basically he's dying of cancer. That's the reality of what's happening right now. And I think that I spoke to him and my mum last night over FaceTime, which again, like, gratitude that at this time we have technology and I can still see him, which is incredible. And that's a choice still to be grateful, even in this horrible time. But seeing him last night and not being there, of course, I felt sad, I felt emotional, and all those feelings deserve to be felt at that time. But I think that it got me thinking about what you're going through and what I'm going through behind the scenes of all of this as well. And I think that, I often look at social and I think it's people show reels, and I think what you and I want to show is just real. We are 2 females with businesses that we're running, with lives that we are continuing to work on and go through, and nothing is perfect. Nothing is, we haven't got everything completely, together, but we are, every single day we have practices, we have things that we have put in place. So when these things come up and life happens, like you say, we have those coping mechanisms so we can navigate our way through it instead of letting it grind us down and break us. So yeah, look, everybody I've spoken to is going through other things because life is still continuing to happen. So, I think you touched upon before we jumped on the call, like how you do that. And I think you and I share a very similar philosophy here about life. And that is really understanding and owning your why. Because at this
Yes.
time, if you lose sight of your mission and your vision and your purpose in life, it can be very, very easy to let life grind you down. So let's talk about, I guess, your why now, and what you're passionate about and what is keeping you getting out of bed every day and showing up at work, showing up with your team as the best version of you. So let's talk about that for a moment.
Yes, and this is something that's really come up for me in so many ways and so relevant for every single human on planet Earth. So I'm so grateful to have this chat, G, because I keep saying to Morgan, like, with everything that keeps coming up. So Zeus got sick, the pandemic hit, Zeus got sick, whatever, anything and everything that's going on in our lives right now, I just keep going back to my why. And I was in the shower this morning thinking about it. I went for a walk with Morgan, and I said, that ultimately, so the joke was, we were going for our big walk, and he said, I do fasting, so I'm on a cleanse day. And he said, you know what, we've already had such a stressful week. He goes, we should just break the cleanse. He'll do this every week. He goes, we should just break the cleanse and have a wine tonight. We deserve it. And I said, no. I'm not gonna, I've set the goal. My word is my bond. We're not breaking the cleanse. He goes through this every week, and he joked and he said, I remember when you used to be fun, ha ha ha. But I said to him, we were talking about it, and I said, babe, and he was like, you get knocked down, you come back up, you get knocked down, you come back up, you get knocked down. Like he said, you should be proud that you don't fall into emotional eating, or you don't fall into a heap, or like today yesterday even, I was still doing calls amongst all the chaos. But I said to Morgs this morning, again, it came up about the why. So I just wanted to preface it with that. And I said, because I know why, I just am so deeply rooted to why I do what I do. And to do what I do, I have to show up as the best version of myself. So the big thing is, and this is what I said off the call, was if people could get this in this pandemic and go back to it, and we do this a lot in our business. So when people come into our team, we do this with them, and we want to know their why. We want to know why they're operating in life, why they're going to, make short-term sacrifices for long-term gain, essentially, and all the rest of it. And for me, we'll go 5 to 7 layers deep. But I was saying, how I'm like, okay, we need money, right? Everybody needs money right now. They do. Even if you've got money, you want more money, right? Well, why? Well, why do you want more money? Well, because, I need to pay my rent, and because I need to put food on the table, and because I'm really stressed. Well, why? Because I don't want to lose my job, or and on, and you've got to keep going. So why do you then want to have that financial security to pay the rent? Well, because I want to exist. Well, why? And you go to the point. Now, for me, if you do that exercise with me, it will always come back to, no matter what my why, even physical. So it's like, well, Anna, how are you so motivated? Why do you still get up and go for a walk and a run today on a fast, on a cleanse day, with a sick dog? Well, if I go back to it, it all goes back to, and I can show you because she sits on my desk. This is my why. My mum. My mum is my why. And why that is because if it's like, well, why, Anna, why? The whole thing was, well, because I grew up in a home where we were so stuck and had no freedom, and we had no choice. There was domestic violence, and there was all these things that we couldn't, sure, maybe that, people go, couldn't you have run away, or couldn't you have done all these things? Well, that was just not our reality. And I remember at a young age, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's like, I just was never we had to rely on government. We had to rely on government housing. We had to rely on, government assistance. We had to rely on churches to feed us. So I remember growing up, and we can go through it or grow through it. It can make us or break us. I was like, I am going to never have to rely on the government. I am going to never have to rely on churches to feed us. I am going to create a wall of financial security around myself. So no matter what happens in life, I am always okay. And as a woman, especially, I'm passionate about this. I will always have freedom and I will always have choice, even when I become a mother. Biggest why. But if you break it down, that's why. Now, then you look at the physicality of that. So for me, right? So then I look at the gym. Why do I still get up at 5 a.m. when I don't have to? Why do I, not break a cleanse day when I, have been really stressed and would love a glass of wine? And I drink, don't worry. We both love
we know.
Pinot Noir. So I am not perfect. I love cheese. I love hot chips. But so I could break my cleanse, for example, but to show up as the best version as myself in every day, to go after my goals, to achieve that wall of financial security around myself, I have to be operating at my best. And my best is choosing my health, and my best is going for that walk, and my best is not breaking my cleanse, and my best is 80% of the time choosing foods that are in my highest good. So but why? Well, because I want to feel good. But why? Because I want to show up as the best version of myself. But why? Because I need to for the goals that I have. But why? Well, because I grew up in a home. Every time I can go back to that. So I think right now, and this again, I love that this is not the podcast to enable those that are looking for that enablement to, and we've said it multiple times because I'm very passionate about it. I'm not the person to follow if you're looking for grace in this pandemic. I am the person to follow. We are the people to follow if you're looking for that inspiration and you need that motivation. But there's lots of people out there that you can follow if you're looking for the grace, and you just need to be told that it's okay to crank a beer at 12 p.m. and sit on the couch. That's okay. But I'm not that person. We're not that people. So my big thing is, if you are stuck right now and you're still like, well, I am letting this break me and I am going through it, I'm not growing through it, go back to your why and ask yourself 5 to 7 times. It doesn't, people say in our, sort of world, it's like your why has to make you cry. Now, it might not. It doesn't have to. Mine certainly does sometimes if I'm really connected to it. If I go deep, then definitely. But yours might just be that you just are so desperate to get out of debt and you need, but why? Well, because you're drowning. Well, why? Because you've made some poor choices. Well, why? Because, because you didn't feel worthy and you've bought things to plug some holes. Boom. Well, there it is. Okay, so there's a mirror right now that the pandemic's put in on your life. How can you break that down and put that back together? So I think that is the thing right now. So even with Zeusy, it was like I was so freaking tired this morning. I have calls after this. We had to still record this. I wanted to show up. I was never gonna Zeus was vomiting this morning and I have had some of my team trying to call me. Not straight away, but it was like I wasn't going to throw the towel in and be like, today's a write-off. No, it's like I'm still going to show up because life is still here it's going to continue. So how can we show up as the best versions of ourselves essentially in this time? And I truly believe that is going back to your why.
I absolutely
so
love
that was
it.
a lot.
No,
I'm
but
sweating.
It's just so powerful. I just think that the power of why, and start with why before you set any new goal. And I want to talk to the whole finance thing there that you just brought up, because what's really interesting, what just came up for me then, is that I grew up in a household that was probably not the opposite, but we never wanted for things growing up. But what there was in my house was almost like that scarcity of not enough. And I think that there's this tendency when people have money that they want more money. And again, you've got to ask why, because right now, there's a lot of people that are probably that they've lost their job, they're having to take pay cuts, they've lost a lot of their investments. And it would be really easy to start thinking, oh, that's it, that my life's over, I've lost all my income. Well, if you strip it right back and you go, what actually matters? What actually brings you joy and fulfillment? What they'll come to realize, and what I came to realize, because I'll put my hand up to say, I was somebody who chased the money for years. I worked in a very high pressure sales role. I built my desk. I was in recruitment up until, $1 million desk, and I was earning commission like left, right, and center, right? And I had a big goal of buying my first home, and all of these goals were all around money, right? And then I got the money, I got the house, I got all the things, all the designer handbags that you could possibly ever want, and I felt empty. I felt soulless, right? So my why of earning these things or buying that house, they didn't fulfill me. So what I'm on a mission, and my why is to help people seek the clarity and seek their what is important to them, and understand, what do you want in life? What does bring you joy? What does a level 10 life look like to you? I now know for me that yes, money, of course, is important, because money is power, and money is portable power, and money does buy nice things, and we can have beautiful experiences. But in this pandemic, when we can't really be spending a lot of money right now, what's bringing me joy is walking on the beach, buying my coffee for $4, walking my dog, spending time with you over Zoom, spending more time with Kyle, just things that don't really cost much. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are spending their time in isolation right now, not going out with their designer purchases or driving their big designer, 4x4 cars, or, they're in this big house that they pay this huge premium mortgage of, and they're looking around going, what's all this about? Like, when you strip it all the way back, I think people ultimately want to be happy, right? And yes, money is a part of that, but it's not the be all and end all. And I think we do live in a society that paints this picture of, to be happy, you have to have this house, this car, this family unit, these friends. And actually, it's all absolute rubbish. What really brings us joy in life is such simple things. And I know that's, for me, that's what that is now. But it took me, the best part of 10 years to realize that. And it wasn't until I moved into that home and had everything I thought I wanted that I came to realize that there's actually more to life. And I had missed out on so much of that because I've been striving for all these things. So I guess my why and my mission now is to help people, find that balance between, yes, living a successful life and having all the money and prosperity that they deserve and want, but also living in the now and having joy every single day, and not striving for those things that ultimately, when they get them, the joy is in the journey, not in the achieving the goal, right? And you and I know this, because we wake up every day and we do our gratitude and we do our meditations, and they're all the things that people need to be doing right now to really get centered and clear on what it is that they want. But it's just
Sorry, go on.
No, you go. You're about to say something, right? I know you're about to
No.
say something. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, but it always comes back to that. It does. Like, so yeah, you keep going, because I want to say, but ultimately, I cannot, the more that so first of all, 100%, and I keep saying this, I just was saying to you off mic that I'd done another interview for a money podcast, and we were really going deep on money, and it's the whole point of it was that so many people in this pandemic are stressed because they're stretched beyond their means, because they have tried to keep up with the Joneses, and ipso facto, buy things that ultimately they thought maybe were going to make them happy, which doesn't. The Gucci handbag in your wardrobe right now isn't paying the rent. And, the mortgage on your house that you might be sitting in miserable right now is not the thing bringing you joy. And it is the things that are free, for sure. It's not that money buys you happiness. This is internal, happiness starts within, not externally. But it's funny when anything that we talk about, it will always, in my opinion, and more than ever, the older that I get, I never say wiser, the more experience that I have. I'm so not wise, but I always say that it all comes back to what we keep saying with routine and habits, and that it's like waking up every single day. And it's so funny, as I was just talking, then I actually just looked down on my desk and read, make it a daily habit to overwhelm someone with kindness. Habit. But but it always goes, have you got the same one?
I've got the same as well.
Yes.
How funny.
From beautiful Jessie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea is that it just comes. So if people are frustrated listening to this, or they're inspired listening to this going, well, that's all good and well, girls. And, wherever they're at on the spectrum of that. So, completely miserable and indebted to their eyeballs, or, okay financially but miserable, well, how can they start? Look at your routine. Because it does start there. It absolutely starts there. How are you loving yourself daily? This was the big thing I thought of today. I thought, I'm getting asked this question a lot, about routine and habit and how do I have the motivation. I'm like nutshelling here, but ultimately, like, if I had to put a sentence on it, how do I have the discipline, or how do I have the motivation to have the discipline for my habits and routines, even in a pandemic? And I'm like, well, because I know the person that I am on the other side of that. And I don't love her. I don't love her. I don't love the Anna that might hit snooze too many days in a row, that doesn't move her body, that makes her like, our bodies are miracles. They deserve to be moved. Mine, let me speak for myself. My body is, we all are, but I won't speak anything over anyone else. But I know that if I put Netflix on today, because I could, and I broke a healthy cleanser or a fast day, and I drank some wine, which I could. And it's okay to do that too. I'm not saying there's no such thing as bad food or bad anything. I eat it all. I drink it all. But there's such a thing as a bad habit, right? So I could, put on Netflix there because it's been a stressful 5 days. I have a very sick dog who is my world, and you could get this. He is my firstborn. But I won't, because I know how I feel when that's the Anna that I show up as, when that's the habit that I choose to pick. And so I think if we ripped it all apart and took everything away, money included, because you can be the wealthiest person in the world, but the most miserable, doesn't guarantee happiness. But internally, like, your internal compass does. So how are you forming your habits? I know we keep going back to that, but repetition is the mother of all skill. And if this is what comes from this, and you just decide, draw the line in the sand and put the stake in the ground and choose to pick one daily habit to show up better for yourself in this pandemic, to grow through it and not go through it, and make it not be broken, what is that going to be? And is it gratitude, or is it, because that's where it all starts, right? Because again, you can then choose to crack the wine for the 5th day in a row, and we keep telling ourselves that's okay, and all of our friends are doing it, and I don't want to, nothing's bad. Like I said, I drink the wine, but if you are then waking up the next day and you promise yourself that you'd exercise and you didn't, and then that's a spiral down, your mental health starts to suffer, your work starts to suffer, your relationships start to suffer, your body's starting to suffer, your sleep's starting to suffer. Well, it's definitely something to look at. Maybe that's the habit that we need to start at. Exactly. Is just, food for thought. So, but yeah, and that's what I would, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, and it comes back to the whole alignment piece as well. So if you're saying right now, my health is my number one priority, but you're downing a bottle of wine every night, eating, blocks of cheese, chocolate, crisps, then you're going to start feeling out of alignment, which is going to cause you pain and suffering. So, if you can't say health's number one right now, if you're not exercising and you're not eating, some nutritious whole foods in that as well. Like, in my opinion, I think that yes, balance is key in all of this, and I'm all for balance. I live a life, way back when, another Georgie, where I didn't have that balance, and I learned the hard way. But now, I love wine, I love chocolate, I love all those naughty things that people say, but at the end of the day, I think it's how you approach it, right? So I approach wine now as something that I enjoy with my husband, that bonds us, when we sit down on a Thursday, Friday, whenever we do our date night, and we sit and we talk, and it's just a beautiful experience. I think if you have that negative view on something, automatically I think it is going to be poison in your body, whereas you say, I'm going to enjoy this beautiful glass of wine now, with this beautiful glass of champagne, with my friend, with my husband, it automatically just feels different, right? So again, it just and you would know that. Like, I think it's just how we approach these things right now. And like, at the end of the day, everyone is doing the best they can in this pandemic, right? I truly believe that.
Absolutely.
So whether you are eating your pantry every day, or you're not exercising, don't just be kind to yourself at this time. I think kindness is key right now as well. But we, I guess, here just a sort of a bit of a guide, and we're just talking about what's real in our life. And yeah, so I guess on that, if you set yourself a goal right now saying I want to come out of this really healthy, but you are then indulging in, lots of wine, cheese and all that kind of stuff, then perhaps you're going to start feeling a little bit off. Or if you say I'm going to really use this time to learn and grow, but you're spending your days watching Netflix and, turning the TV on every 5 minutes or checking social media, again, you're going to start feeling out of alignment, which is going to cause you to feel, suffering and pain and guilt. So I think it's just, again, maybe starting to set some daily goals that you want to achieve, or some weekly goals. Like you set the goal the other week of running your marathon. Amazing. And that went really well. You hit it. You did that,
Smashed
didn't you?
it.
Yeah.
I did. I smashed it. And again, and to speak to that was, I mean, Zeus got sick on Thursday night. He started on Thursday night, and we still had, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6, 12, 18 kilometers to run. My word is my bond. It still got done. I mean, we couldn't run together. One stayed with Zeusy, or he was in, we call it the hospital, the vet hospital, but we still got it done because again, I just think it is, I think where I'm just very big on what I said. It's like we ultimately know. People always say, well, what motivates you to stay disciplined? And again, I've been enjoying way more wine than usual, but I feel okay with that because I'm the same. I'm like, well, I'm enjoying it beautifully with Morgan. I'm actually loving this pandemic. And I said actually before, I was like, I actually chose at the very beginning that I just opted out of the pandemic. I opted out. I was like, not my pandemic. I'm going to, I'm going to grow through this time. I'm going to enjoy this time. I'm going to be made in this pandemic, not be broken in this pandemic. So it's all those choices, and you can too. Anyone listening to this can choose this mindset. It is all a choice. But I will say that it is just about, and this can sort of be the task maybe this week, but just about asking the question and checking in and being like, well, how do I feel? Because I know if I'm going too far off the balance spectrum, I'll call myself on my own stuff and I will get it in check. And because I know, exactly how we feel. Our bodies are magnificent miracles, and they will tell you that they're not loving the late nights or again, no such thing as bad food, big mindset. It's only bad habits actually. And I want to quickly really speak to that. This is just really on topic but off topic. And you said something, and I've said this since I was like a little girl. I don't know, my mum, I want to say it's from my mum, because she used to say to me, you're going to speak things into being. And I took that so literally. And now today I'm like, there's science about this. Literally, there's the water experiment, there's fruit experiment that's been done. If you speak existence and life over something, or death, it crystallizes. So water, do it, look it up. Google the Japanese scientist water experiment. Look it up, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never heard of this before, but I don't know his name. I could quickly Google it, but it was a Japanese man. He did an experiment with. Have you ever heard about this?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And he had the water, and this is, look at your cells and your life as this, because we are all energy. So he spoke life, and you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're going to survive, life, literal life and love. I love you over water. And he put it under a microscope and watched it crystallize and form, and it formed beautifully. It was fully formed, just unbelievable patterns, beautiful patterns, and all the rest of it. And then he spoke death over water. So you're disgusting, I hate you, you're going to die, like just horrible words. And he watched that crystallize under a microscope, and it didn't form. It was deformed crystallization. It didn't fully form. It was ugly. Like the patterns were really angry. It's unbelievable. So I believe that in every single facet, and the same thing's being done with fruit. You can do it yourself. Do it yourself. Get some fruit, keep it apart, speak life over one and speak death over another. There is so much evidence out there. And this is the same thing in this pandemic. I spoke life over it. I was like, I'm choosing to opt out. I am going to grow through it. I'm not going to be broken. I'm going to make myself, not break myself. And the same thing in all facets of life. So the wine, I think this is why some people are like, no, it's super bad for you. I'm like, whatever, it's amazing. It's what you think. So so with my food, because I'm I'm nowhere near perfect, but I just love my food. So I speak love as I eat. And I believe food will digest with guilt and stress and disharmony, and wine, or it will digest with love and peace and happiness and gratitude. And how do you think that's going to form and digest and manifest in your body if you're eating with that guilt or that stress? And this again is in all areas of our life. We can apply this. So yeah, that was like relevant, but not relevant.
I'm so on the same page with you there. I feel like, you know, what you give out is what you get back, right? And if you sit there and say, you know, it would be very easy for you and I right now to play victims, you know, poor me, what's next around the corner, what else is coming my way? And this is a lot of what people are doing. They're going, what's next, what more negativity am I gonna, you're actually asking for it, you're inviting it in. And it was when I really understood that concept that I thought, I've got to be very, very careful now with what I say and what I think and how I act. And, you know, I'm a big believer of you give out kindness, you give out love, you get more of it back. And I truly
100%.
believe that. You give out hate, you give out criticism, negativity, you're going to get that back. You know, there's no coincidence that there's people out there who are depressed, anxious, negative, and they're just constantly in that self-fulfilling prophecy. Poor me, poor me, poor me. And they're going to get, you know, those people, why has it always happened to me? Well, maybe it's because, you know, you're attracting it into your life, you know, whereas you get people who are positive and energized even through all of this, even through everything that's going on in their lives. And, you know, we've discussed quite openly on here what's going on in our lives right now and how we're choosing to respond. And again, we are still showing up with intention every day. We're still doing our morning, you know, routines and our habits every single day. And we're choosing to focus on what we can be grateful for. Like the fact that Zeus is getting the best care possible from an amazing vet. The fact that you have the money to be able to afford all of his treatment. The fact that when I spoke to my granddad last night, I was able to see him because I've got FaceTime and an amazing internet and connection. All these things that I'm still going, thank you, universe, you know, everything, because I can still show up every day, still get to speak to my family during this time, still get to do all of my morning routine. I've still got my health, I've still got everything else going on in my life, and that's what I'm choosing to focus on right now. So you've hit something so important there, that what you focus on manifests, right?
Yeah. And just lastly on that, like the science behind it, if people even, and I didn't know this, but I think it was a deeply rooted into my DNA from my mom growing up. Like we weren't allowed to call ourselves idiots, or like, I'm one of 5 kids, so we would always like pick on each other or have fights. And if mum was there and she heard like me saying, you're an idiot, to one of my brothers, she's like, she would literally make us take it back. And then we had to speak something positive over their life. So like, no, you're smart. So she would make us eat our words, literally say, I take that back. And then we had to speak positive. So, but the science now, as I grow with more experience, the thing that I'm obsessed with and I love, and look it up again, everyone, if you're listening and you're interested, is the emotional guidance system, which is a spiral. So the highest vibration, because again, we're energy, science, we are all energy made of atoms and cells. The highest vibration is joy, and the lowest, I think, it's guilt or anger.
I think
it's anger. So joy. Now the fastest way to get to joy, one of, is gratitude.
Yes. And
so you might be like, they're about gratitude, they're on about gratitude again, but it is the fastest way to hit joy, and be in that high vibration. Now at that vibration and at that level of that sincere DNA, like I am genuinely vibrating joy and happiness, and I mean that, what are you going to attract more of?
Correct.
Joy and happiness and all the rest of it. And it's exactly that. So with Zeus, for example, again, I was on business calls and life resumed as normal as possible around vet visits and, you know, laying on the floor with him. And I cried, I'm normal. But I said on every call, they were like, how Zeus is here? I'm so sorry. And I said, look, I am just so grateful. I'm grateful that I work from home. Even in a pandemic, I work from home. So say we weren't, it wasn't this time, I still work from home and I can be with him. And I said, oh my God, I'm grateful we can afford the vet bills. Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's all good. Now, how are you? Right. So it was just that gratitude. And for you, we just off the camera, you said to me, Grandad's not going to be around much longer. He's not going to make it. But I'm so grateful I got to see his, face last night. And it's like, oh, people got just that one little piece, and they could spiral up the emotional guidance system of their life more. Then that's the level 10 life that you talk about, which I love so much.
Absolutely. And Kyle asked me the same question this morning. He's like, how are you feeling from last night? And I said, well, obviously, I felt sad and I felt, frustrated, but I'm also feeling super freaking grateful that I've got a granddad. There's a lot of people who grew up without any grandparents, and I've got some beautiful memories. And we literally just spent 10 minutes talking about all the memories. Like, he was at our wedding, he was playing cricket with everyone, all the guests, and they're the memories that I will hold on to and I will treasure for the rest of my life. So that's what I'm focused on right now. Those beautiful memories that I've had with him, and how he's been such an incredible part of my life. And actually, on the phone call last night, he said this to me. He goes, make sure you enjoy yourself. And I just thought, and now if that's the last time I get to speak to him, I don't know when that will be. Every conversation is a blessing right now, but what a beautiful way to end, make sure you enjoy yourself. And I just think maybe we should just sort of leave it there today. Like, even in this pandemic, even in this time of craziness, uncertainty, we're tying it all back into how we started. You can still be grateful. You can still experience joy. You can still choose how you show up every single day. And that is what I'm choosing. I know it's what you're choosing, but, just bring some joy today. Just focus on what you can still control and what you can be grateful for. And what you give out is what you get back.
Yeah, Granddad's inspired it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy yourself. How can you enjoy yourself in this moment today? I love it.
Exactly. Anna, you are incredible and sending lots of love your way right now. And, you just keep that healthy mindset. I know you will, but you're an inspiration to, I'm sure, everyone that's listening to this right now. And for anyone who is going through something right now, like, just know that you're not alone. Everyone is going through something on top of this. There's not one person I've spoken to who hasn't already got, life is continuing, life is going on, life isn't stopping, and it is asking us to show up. It is it's putting a spotlight onto our lives. And, this is not the time to be thinking, poor me. This is the time to be going, am I gonna go through this or grow through this? So have a wonderful day, guys, and we'll see you again next week. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Mind to Lead podcast. I really hope you got some great takeaways and key learnings from this episode. To help us spread the message, please give us a rating and leave us a review. We love reading your thoughts and your insights and your learnings. And look, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Georgie Hubbard. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Georgie L. Hubbard. Let's connect. I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.